do 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 do. Oh, that would have been that would have been so much better. That would have been epic if I had it in the right camera layout. Then Jim would have popped in right when I got to do 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 do. Oh man, I had it in the wrong layout though. Okay, hey guys, we are running late, and that is 100% Cassidy's fault. Although I do have to say, sometimes you gotta finish a call. Sometimes it's just too important. So yeah, so that's. I didn't have a chance to apologize to Jim and Bradley yet, so that's my apology. Don't judge me. There we go. Okay. Now we haven't started the actual show yet. We're still in that pre-show goof-off phase. We'll hit the music in just a second. But yeah, now that Bradley is here, I want to apologize, Bradley. This is live, so I apologize live to the whole dang world. I'm very sorry.
Right, okay, right. I'll accept your apology. I've just been grilled by Jim Andre, and I'll get in. Now it's our turn to grill you, Cassidy. What time do you call this? Rightio, that's it sorted out. Yeah, don't worry about it. The thing is, we're here. Okay? We're here.
Well, I'm just saying it's my fault. I just got done explaining to the audience. Sometimes a call is just too important and you can't get off the phone. And I apologize about that. But these guys were ready. These guys are professional. I am the dipshit tonight.
None of us are all there because we're all here.
And although we're all here, we're not all there. That's one of my all-time favorite Muppet songs. Okay.
Right, let's see if we can get sharing this show. Yeah, are you going to show your face, Cassidy?
My camera is currently screwed up.
Really? Or is it because you haven't got your face on?
No, I didn't bother to get my face on because my camera is screwed up. It basically, okay, so for those of you who watch the Coffee Time show, the camera is not busted. I need to run out to Walmart and get a new stand. So basically, it's there's nowhere to put it. Do you see what I mean? It'll just be staring at my ceiling. And you'll see here, I'll turn it on just a second. You'll see a different angle of my ceiling because it's not on the stand. 1 second, there we go.
See? Oh, excellent. We got 20 viewers already. That's quite good, yeah.
See the problem, guys? Now, I could hold it up.
Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah.
You can't find anything to lean it on?
No, it's not that. It's not that kind of camera. It needs a stand to go up in the bottom. So that's why my camera's off.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, David Nash. A shout out to David Nash. Thank you for joining us. Gail Rand Epps. Hi there for joining us. David Daly as well. And Donny Randall. Well, we got a bit of a house full here.
Wow. So yeah, what is the subject tonight?
We was going to discuss timekeeping, weren't we, Jim? But then we thought we changed our mind. Yeah, paranormal phenomena. Yeah, Jim's with us. Jim is with us for an hour. He's got his 4 grandchildren. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, Jim? You've got your 4 grandchildren with you, so you've got other engagements. You've got to feed them, cook them a meal, clean up after them.
Yeah,
you've got to play
other show. Yeah, plus we got that other show at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We certainly have.
That's
so Jim's with us,
Hilton, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you on that, today?
If he invites me, I'd be happy to. But yeah, guys, check that out. Professor Hilton is a very fascinating. He runs a good show. Definitely shout out to Professor Hilton. And I don't want to say his first name because all the other nerds will be like, no. But it's true, guys. His first name is Daedric. He's a Daedric Hilton. Now all the nerds in the audience are rolling. Everybody else is like, what? All right. So by some interesting coincidence, the bad guys in the Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series are called the Daedrics. So yeah, it was really funny. And now I'm just sort of like holding time until somebody in charge directs us. How about I hit the theme song? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do the intro, and then we get rolling. We're rock and roll.
All right. Hey, sis. Okay. Where are we? All right. Here we go for Esoteric Hours. We are your hosts.
Yeah.
It no longer matters who's crazy and who's not. The world is on fire, and no one is going to put it out for us. No matter your race, religion, or creed, we are all in this together. Remember, your participation is the lifeblood of social media, and right now, the content creators you love are under siege and need your help. Please like, share, subscribe, and if possible, click the donation button in the episode description. Now welcome to the Bradley Powers Esoteric Hours. It is my honor to present your host, Mr. Bradley Powers.
For the fabulous introduction. My name is Bradley Powers. I'm a mystic, a spiritual advisor, administrator to a large, a few 100,000 members on Facebook. I've just launched a new alien group called Extraterrestrials, Alien Contactees, Abductees and Believers. And we are peaking at 45,000 members. We received 4,000 new membership applications in a period of 24 hours. About 8,000 new members in 7 days, or maybe more than that. You know what? The figures are phenomenal. The group is growing really fast, and I'm really pleased to be the creator of this brand new group. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Jim Andre, quantum healer and alien abductee. Thank you for joining us, Jim Andre.
How you doing?
Jim Andre is with us for an hour. Then he's got to attend his 4 grandchildren, I believe, cook them a meal, play house, and feed them, clean up after them, because we have another show afterwards with Dedrick Hilton. Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you,
Professor Dedrick Hilton.
Professor Dedrick Hilton. Yes,
yeah.
Professor Dedrick Hilton from MUFON, may I add, wants me and Jim Andre on the show, possibly Cassidy Lightwing. I'll discuss that with him, see if we can arrange that. And Cassidy Lightwing is with us right now. He's hiding behind his screen because he hasn't got his face on. That's what I reckon it is. But Cassidy says it's something else. Technical issues.
I assure you it's backwards. The stand for my camera is broken. It's not one of those that has its own like thing. I have to put it on the stand. So I have to go get a new one before tomorrow's show.
Shout out to David Nash, Gal Rand Epps, and Jenna Lee. Thank you for joining us, Jenna. And also we've got Donnie Randall and a few other people as well for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. Sorry if I haven't mentioned your name, but I'm navigating my way through this Facebook timeline. Thank you for joining us. And what would you like to discuss today, guys?
Well, we seem to have some requests in the audience to talk about time. In what way do you guys want to talk about time?
Time.
That's the only request that I'm seeing so far.
Time. Talk about time.
Time is on my side. Yes, it is.
Basically, time to do the show. Period.
Yeah, there we go. Chups busted, my good chums. Please continue. No, I will eat my crow. When you got to juggle your time, eating crow is part of it, folks.
As far as time is concerned, all we ever have is the here and now, the moment.
For now. And we have Pink Floyd's time as well. Pink Floyd, the rock gods. I know he's not. Well, were Pink Floyd esoteric intellectuals? Do you reckon? Do you reckon they knew a little bit more and they related it in their songs, possibly? Like Dark Side of the Moon, the pyramid, the light that enters the pyramid, the glass pyramid, and it come out as colourful rainbow. What do you think about that?
Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
would
got to
do
say
love
about
Pink
that.
Floyd.
Pink Floyd is like a shaman to me, and I mean that very, very literally. It's like certain bands, and and keep in mind, it's not just about Pink Floyd. I'm not saying, "Ooh, Pink Floyd." It's all highly personal. You know, Cardi B could be could be one of your musical shaman, whatever. It's anyone whose music speaks to you on that spiritual level and can in that way move your soul into a better frame of life. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
Cardi B would do that, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Pink Floyd are rock gods. They're my favourite band, actually. I know we're changing the subject here. Yeah, so my new extraterrestrials, alien contactees, abductees, and believers group is at 45,000 members at this moment in time. I'll have to share it onto my timeline, actually, the group. Yeah, very impressed with that. I've never known a group. This is the fastest growing, apart from Reloaded, this is the fastest growing group that I've ever had that is expanded so quickly. I feel sorry for Jim's group. Jim had 122,000 members, and now he's got 116,000 members. It's a private group. He's abiding. He's following their policy. Yet Facebook have stolen 6,000 members of Jim's group. The
Yeah, and it should have grown way beyond what it is already, no doubt.
You know, work that one out. You know, and what is Jim doing wrong? He's not doing anything wrong. You know. Not like we did abuse the system. In our aliens group, we were sharing conspiracy theories. Yes, I admit it. Okay, yes, we was. And Facebook penalised us for doing that.
well,
and now we're not doing that anymore.
If you'd stay away from certain subjects, we could still talk about conspiracy theories. It's just sometimes on this show we get off on the wrong subjects.
Yeah, yeah.
Facebook
And
user,
talking
did you say hello?
Is there anybody out there? No. Sorry, we've got to get Pink Floyd out of our head. Talking of Pink Floyd, Gail Rand Epps says the Doors, they're not rock gods, are they?
You don't want me to answer that.
oh, who's that? Name me the lead singer of the Doors then.
What?
Who's the lead singer of the Doors? I can't remember his name now. He committed suicide, didn't he?
Jim Morrison?
Jim Morrison. That's right.
Well, he didn't commit suicide technically, but you could argue that he committed suicide because he bloody well knew that he was going to die in his own vomit that night, and he drank anyway. You know, same thing with Jimi Hendrix. It's a weird thing about musicians. They tend to be able to predict their own death. I don't quite understand what the physics behind that is, but that's what science is for. But yeah, it's weird. Musicians tend to be able to predict when and how they're going to die. And it's more than any other profession. You'd think it would be soldiers, but it's actually musicians. So yeah.
And Donnie Randall says, can you hypnotize yourself? I think that's what he's trying to say. Can you hypnotize yourself?
Well, I'm not sure if they could hypnotize themselves like directly, but you can.
Meditation would be a form of that, wouldn't it?
No.
To an extent, not literally, but
no. Meditation is delving into your own self, whereas
you're bringing yourself inward. Yeah, you're bringing yourself inward. Yeah.
Right, but with hypnotization, you're giving the reins to your inner self over to somebody else, whereas with meditation, you're keeping it with you.
Right. But it's the same process, but you're just doing it by yourself.
I don't know. It achieves different results. I'm assuming that the person is asking about the results of hypnotism itself, and that I might be overanalyzing it. I tend to think too literally. But if you want to hypnotize yourself, or say for example, you want to hypnotize something into you, but you're embarrassed to go to a hypnotist, go to YouTube. There are self-hypnosis videos all over the place. Now that being said, I don't know if you can hypnotize yourself. But Jim is right. As far as to achieve, you would use meditation, not hypnosis, if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, excuse me, I'm still sharing as per usual. Yeah, so what we're going to discuss then, spirituality, paranormal phenomena. Extraterrestrials. So I've got one for you. Alex Collier, familiar with you guys? Alex Collier. He actually was an alien contactee with the Andromedans for like decades, probably around 30 years. Do you think his words are binding? I actually think there's clarity in his words, to be honest with you.
I have some questions. I don't know if he's still alive, but if so, I'd like to talk to him someday. Damn. So in that case, I'll just pose my questions to the ether. The thing is the Andromedans as a group are so wildly diverse. Like the human mind, no meat brain. So it's not just no meat brain can actually conceptualize how many Andromedan races there are, because the Andromedans are from another galaxy. I suspect that Collier was talking to the Arcturians, but
what type of information did he ever reveal, if any?
Nothing solid.
Well, you would think he would have revealed. You would think that he would have revealed something after being in contact with him for decades.
He did do talks about them. You can find out more information about him on YouTube. He shared information about the Andromedans, that he actually called them. Other intelligent life forms actually did exist that he was in touch with.
Yeah, but the thing is that he was a channeler, and that's a problem. And I'm not trying to say that he was illegitimate, okay, because Dolores Cannon was a channeler, and she was bloody well legitimate. And you guys would skewer me if I said otherwise. But so channelers, when you're channeling, the information has to go through your perception filters. So by the time it gets to what you can even understand as a person, it's already been filtered and refiltered. I mean, Jim, you know as well as anybody else, there's a kind of a difference between talking to a Zeta face to face and hearing them through the ether,
right,
as it were. Yeah. So then channeling is a whole nother dimension beyond that. The problem is that, okay, so I'm not doubting Collier, okay? The thing is, though, is that he didn't really give any information that we can really use. And that's been a major problem. It's been rather poisoning the well for the ufology community entirely, and it's been making things exponentially difficult for me personally, So you get these channelers and saying, oh, I'm in contact with this, I'm in contact with that. And yeah, they are. In many cases, they are. But in many more cases, they're just lying. And they're trying to get some kind of profit or benefit.
The reason why I say Alex Collier held clarity is because I think it was like maybe over 20 years, possibly 30 years, he was actually in communing with them. That's
right.
why I say.
Granted, and I don't, and I am building on that, not taking away from. Okay.
Yeah.
However, this has so I've said many times, right, that all this has way more to do with spirituality and like indigenous folklore and shit. So people like Dolores Cannon and Collier, they're the first waves. Okay, they're the first waves of first contact. This process has gone on for billions of years. All right, it works. So people like them are the first stage of contact. What the normal process of first contact doesn't account for is people like you, who are not a first contact species. You guys were already in contact, like with Atlantis and that whole period. Anybody disagree with that?
Yeah.
So
no.
So this is not very usual, and there's not a whole lot of protocols for this. And also, the human spirit is wildly unpredictable. So we're doing our best. The next phase, and this is where we're having a problem. The next phase is usable information. See, Dolores Cannon and Collier, they told a lot, but what information did any of them actually give that people at home can use? There's nothing. There's spiritual ways of living and morals and things like that. And there's lots and lots and lots of information, but nothing actually viable with regards to replicating the technology and actually facilitating first contact. It's all prep work. And that's not a bad thing at all, at all, at all. But people in society have gotten stuck there because of shysters and phonies and con men.
Well,
there is
the
a question.
mainstream news media don't help either with all that
Right.
false information.
Oh my God.
Hub Spayton is on my team. I hope I pronounced his name right. Spayton Jones. Excuse my English. He's on my team for the new group that's expanding really fast. He's got a question for you, Cassidy. His question is: are some of them actually manifesting through electroplasm?
Depending on what you mean by manifesting, the answer would be yes. Okay, so if you mean manifesting as in the electroplasm being the medium by which they're protruding into this world from other, dimensions, then absolutely 100% yes. There's also another version of that I could answer yes to, and that would be plasmic entities themselves, which my people are. So yeah, so in both of those, that's very real. The problem is that, and there's always a fly in the ointment, and that's just going to be the way it's going to be. The problem is that people can also use the electromagnetic plasma and whatnot in the atmosphere. And I'm trying to stall because I can't remember the name of the actual particles in the North and South Pole that they're studying, that they're creating miniature vortexes. You can also bounce electrical signals off of those, creating the illusion of like contact. So in that respect, the answer would be no. Do you see?
David Nash is actually asking Cassidy, what is electroplasm?
All right, so electroplasm is a situation where a given section of space, right? So like say this little 1 foot square in front of me, say it's full of electroplasm, right? What's in that space is a condition which prevents atoms from condensing with electrons. Usually this is heat, like in the center of a sun or whatnot, but there are a number of other conditions which can create it. It's any condition which prevents the electrons from bonding with the protons and neutrons creates a plasma. And incidentally, that's one of the theories about what's on the inside of a lightsaber.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are entities that actually evolve if you get a state of electroplasm going for long enough. Like for example, if a sun survives long enough, entities will emerge that are living a living currents of electroplasm. Yeah. Sorry, it's hard to talk sometimes.
Yeah.
Sabrina Kaiser has a really good question. Could one of you guys read that?
Do you have any insight on objects disappearing and reappearing having aged? We also see doubles of ourselves and others in the house and the yard.
All right. Well, I happen to know Sabrina Kaiser, and she lives in a very, very supernaturally active area. For those of you who are listening from Arizona, Sedona, all that area, you know that area is not quite normal. So what happens in areas like that? See, underneath the surface is very, very, very super dense metal, and it's creating its own little gravity field and its own electro field, and it's all wonky. But that creates a perfect environment for spiritual contact and contact with other dimensions. So disappearing and reappearing having aged actually has a very simple explanation, and they've been releasing the information on this one recently. So the thing is that the immediate dimensions surrounding your dimension don't move at the same rate as Earth, because it's not in the same gravity field, you see. So whether this space moves faster or slower, that depends on who you're talking to, but the immediate sort of dimensional membrane around this world does not move at the same speed. So in areas like Sedona and like the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle aspect, areas of Japan and Romania, in places like this where what the spiritualists and the shamans would call the veil is very thin. What's also very thin there is the barrier between actual dimensions, which I think is what they're talking about when they say the veil. And that's a result of gravity interacting with electromagnetic energy. So when a person gets accidentally caught in one of these elseworldly currents, you just gotta kind of hope, So people, when they come back, they'll come back in different eras, different decades even. I mean, how many stories do we have verified of pilots coming out of the Bermuda Triangle at the wrong time? You know?
Yeah, good point.
Same thing there.
Yeah.
Same thing with ships and ghost ships and all that stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of people go missing in spiritually active areas like that. I believe the Missing 411 documentaries go into that. I haven't seen them, but I hear they're really good about that.
So what would you consider the sighting of, like, say, a ghost ship? Would that be like a replay of a historic event? Or
the sea, outside of things like Bermuda Triangle, has its own issues. Ghost ships are very real.
Yeah, so what would that be, like a replay of a historical event that previously happened?
Depending on the individual ghost ship. So a couple of possibilities for like ghost ship sightings in history is, time co-location, obviously. The one that bothers me, and you guys can tell I'm afraid, and I don't want you guys to know I'm afraid. So just pretend I'm not scared talking about this subject. But the one that bugs me is the ones that are essentially a pathos reflection of an atrocity. So like you'll get this kind of ghost ship, either it was a ship that was absolutely ravaged by something terrifying, or like it was a pirate ship that did terrifying things to other people. Either way, it created such an intense level of pathos that it left an imprint in the fourth dimension.
I could name such a ship, some that you might be familiar with, called the Mary Celeste. Are you familiar with that? Some say the Mary Celeste is a ghost ship. Some say that it's possible the Mary Celeste actually sailed through an element of the Bermuda Triangle, causing the loss of the whole crew. There was meals laid out prepared to be eaten that were not eaten. They were discarded. No one was there. The compass was cracked. But there was no damage to the ship, and there's no actually evidence or suggestions. There's theories, conspiracy theories, but what happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste? The ship was in fact, the ship had a run of bad luck even after it was salvaged. It was still continually in use, and it had a load of bad luck followed the ship, sadly. But like the Mary Celeste is a story that might be related to the Bermuda Triangle, just a theory.
I'm terrible with my geography, so I don't remember where the Mary Celeste was found. But yeah, that could be the same kind of thing. Those stories go way, way, way back to the dawn, of boats. All right, that's why those. Yeah, excuse me. Point of fact, anthropologists believe that's what gave rise to legends of like the sirens that would just lure people off the boat because they couldn't think of anything else.
Very good.
How large of a crew did it have? Do you know?
I think it was like 26.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge ship in my memory, but again, that's my memory. So, yeah. Like, for example, I've been trying to stall this entire time, trying to remember the name of a very famous ghost ship that's a Pathos type ghost ship. It was in the dang Pirates of the Caribbean books, or movies, not books. The name of the ship. They brought it in because, they would try to bring everything from nautical lore. It was Davy Jones' ship in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. What was that? Yes, the Flying Dutchman. Aha. So in history, there was a ship called the Flying Dutchman, and that's what they got the inspiration for the movie. So the Flying Dutchman was one of those ships, and I believe that was a Pathos ghost ship. And just look it up for your guys selves. It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, no, the crew of the Mary Celeste was never found. The eventual death of the Mary Celeste was an insurance scam, to hit the rocks and cause it to sink, and that would have been an insurance scam. But and that was in 1885, where the captain deliberately tried to wreck her off the coast of Haiti, and in an insurance fraud. But the actual truth is, whatever happened to the Mary Celeste was found abandoned in December the 5th, 1872, 400 nautical miles from the Azores in Portugal, and she was found frozen in an ice pack. Oh, in 1969. No, that's not right, is it? The last recorded site, 38 years after she was abandoned, the ship was found in 1969. Is that right?
So
yeah, no, the actual Mary Celeste, 100. It disappeared 150 years after its crew disappeared. Oh, okay. It was found drifting without any crew on board in 1872. In 1872, it was actually found, and it's one of the best ghost ship stories going around today. And they never actually, they haven't solved the mystery of the Mary Celeste. And it's fascinated us for more than over 100 years what really happened to the crew of the legendary ghost ship, the Mary Celeste. Anyway, that's that covered.
So Lost Link, are you asking, you're saying that could be Ra or that could be RA? Because you capitalized both, so I'm not really sure. And by Ra, do you mean the Egyptian sun god? Dracona says, it's thought the effect of Fata Morgana is what gave the Flying Dutchman its name. That could be. That could be. Now I'm sitting here. I understand that I have to explain Fata Morgana, but I'm suddenly not quite remembering what it means. Shannon, what's Fata Morgana again?
That's Greek to me. Yeah.
Haha. Yeah, what's Fata Morgana? The illusion. What causes that? Oh, it's one of the various types of optical illusions. I just don't remember which one. All right, he says sun god. Well, I'm going to be honest. If we're going to start blaming things or attributing things to gods, then what's the point? I will say this for those of you who are wondering. Even though I do give the Egyptian pantheon a lot of weight, there is a very, very serious reason why I feel okay to talk to Ra like this. And you're going to have to look up the difference in the schism between Ra and Sekhmet to figure out why. But no, it could be Ra. It could be any god. But I mean, the whole point of doing this, right, would be to figure out the science behind how they did it, if it was a god. So if Ra reached out of the sun and said yoink to these pilots, okay, what's the physics behind it? Because it wasn't like it was a giant brown hand. You know what I mean? But yeah. That being said, I doubt Ra had anything to do with it. If any of the gods did have anything to do with this, I would be more likely to pin it on Eris, if any god.
Sorry, Cassidy, what are you related to? Did you say horrors?
No. Eris,
oh,
god of goddess of turmoil and chaos.
Yeah, Ra, Amen Ra. Allegedly, when you say Amen, you're actually giving paying homage to Amen Ra, the sun god, allegedly.
I don't think that's true. I think that's something people made up after the Victorian Egyptology craze.
Yeah.
Because Amen and Amun in Egyptian are not the same thing. So I think what Amen means is the form of agreement and saying, so say we all kind of thing. Whereas Amun, different meaning.
Is it possible that Jesus was gay? Jim, are you in on this? Is it possible that Jesus was gay? And when they were saying, everyone thinks they're saying amen. No. Is it possible Jesus was saying amen?
No.
That's just a joke. Sorry, I thought a joke.
Oh, okay. I thought you were actually introducing that as a topic of debate.
Amen. Amen. Like, okay, it's okay. It's like
it's all good. It's all good.
I don't even think that deserved a response.
Well, you didn't laugh, did you? So, like, I won't. I don't think I'll be a jester.
No, it's okay, bro. There's a cultural thing. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. There's an awful lot of turmoil in America right now from people getting violent over saying things like Jesus was gay, and if you don't agree with me, we're gonna burn your house down. So it's like it's a pretty weighty subject here. And my response to that, to anybody who wants some, is I ain't hard to find. Come and get me.
Yeah.
The idea that Jesus was actually a woman is actually less offensive.
Wow, really? I've heard that one before.
See, little known bits of very, very obscure culture that a lot of people would disagree. Like, for example, if Ben Shapiro heard what I'm about to say, he'd probably have a hissy fit. But many, many, many old cultures had provisions for people who didn't fit their normal sexual role. And I said sex, not gender. Okay, we're gonna get into that at some point. So the thing is, the Hebrews had an entire whole thing for that already set up in their culture. Fucking Monty Python actually pokes fun at it in the movie Life of Brian.
Yeah.
So a woman could actually become a rabbi and take on a man's role, but she had to wear a man's clothes. She had to wear facial hair like a man, which involved getting fake facial hair many, many times. You could no longer renounce any of your rights as a woman. You could no longer go into the woman's spaces. That's it. And you'd better be able to do a man's job. The man you're trying to imitate, you better be able to do it. And the same thing in reverse. But men weren't usually able to pull it off because male aggression. Not because of intolerance or anything.
Well, I doubt Jesus had a fake beard and mustache, because all the striking and whipping he went through, that wouldn't have held on very long.
No, that's a good point. That's what I'm saying. It's just a theory. I'm not saying I subscribe to it, but the theory goes that that Jesus was actually a woman utilizing these conventions to become a rabbi, and So the question I have for people who like that theory is, where did Jesus' kids come from? Then okay, so then in that case, who was the father? Because the thing is, what people don't realize is the Pharisees called him rabbi. Now, people in the modern day will say, no, that's just Jewish sarcasm. No, it fucking wasn't. The Pharisees were not allowed to speak a word out of line, even an accident. If it was even an accident, they were put to death. So when they were calling him rabbi, they were not being sarcastic. He was a rabbi. And to be a rabbi, you had to have children.
Really?
Yep.
So how many children did he have?
At least one.
The Freemasons believed that he had children. They also believed that the Holy Grail could either have been the cup, which offers you eternal immortality, but it was more likely that the Holy Grail was actually the bloodline that leads to the siblings of Jesus Christ, and who are still alive to this day. Some believe that they're in France, and the Freemasons actually believe that he had children.
Is there any historical literature that actually identifies any of his children?
Not that I know of, but the Rosicrucians.
Well, you would think that him being Jesus, there would be, if that were true, right?
No. The apostles would have gotten his children out of the area as fast as possible. Probably would have taken them up to Ireland. And there's actually some historians that claim they can prove that Jesus went to Japan after his supposed death. Like, there's all sorts of false information out there. That's why, if anybody's interested in taking this study very, very seriously, go look up the Rosicrucians. And if you're very, very serious, join their order. Just remember, I was the one that put you on that. Do that favor for me, because I'm getting tired of angry Rosicrucians.
I think
for those of you who are new, longtime viewers will know. My sister Christy actually went ahead and dug it up and found out that we are on paper descended from Jesus Christ, and that has caused no end of trouble. I don't believe it, because folks, 2,000 years is a long time for a rich guy to write his name in a piece of paper. Okay. However, it's caused a lot of trouble. And that's why I say we're the ones who put you on it. Let's get this solved.
Oh,
so how long was man here before Jesus?
About 2 million years. Before that, you couldn't quite identify them as men. They were more monkey than human before that point.
Right.
And I said monkey, not great ape. You guys have tails and appendixes. You are not apes. You have been misclassified. Of course,
wow. David Nash. I haven't heard this before. Ra and Marduk were the same person, says David Nash, Enkai's son in the Sumerian story. Ra and Marduk were the same person. Lord Marduk. Marduk is the one who actually fought Tiamat, the five-headed dragon, I believe. And he, with a bolt of lightning, he actually annihilated her, caused her death. Yeah, Lord Marduk did that. And also, Lord Marduk actually took over planet Nibiru. It took over the reign from King Anu. Became King Marduk of planet Nibiru using King Anu's powers, I believe. And now David Nash is saying, right, and Marduk were the same person. What do you think about that, Cassidy and Jim?
I have my doubts, but I'm willing to have a conversation about it. I like to know the basis for his belief. Because the thing is the Nethers of Kemet do have direct analogs in Sumerian. I just don't necessarily agree with which one is also this person. You see what I mean? Yeah. What a lot of people don't know is that the Nethers of Kemet had counterparts all over the world. Going all the way, like if you track the Egyptian mythology, the Greek mythology, and the Viking mythology, Apollo had different names in all three, and they all knew about each other. And he would go to different parts of the world in all three of these mythologies. So yeah, there is a direct connection. I'm not sure I believe that Ra is as diminished a being as Enki. I mean, Enki's Enki's kind of mortal. And so I like it. To quote the Beastie Boys, "Where did you get your information from, huh?"
Yeah.
No, I love these kinds of debates. So tell me what your base. Maybe I'm wrong. I love to be taught shit.
All right, here's another one for you. David Nash says, well, the reason for the Apocrypha books being removed is that the church did not believe in canonizing women as saints. So all books about female saints were removed. The ancients were very misogynistic, very anti-feminine.
Well, that's kind of interesting since there are several female saints. And there are several female saints mentioned in the books of the Bible that made it past the Council of Nicaea. Now, if you want to make the point that they refused to, like for example, they know about several of the demi-angel human females, and they didn't want to talk about that. Sure, absolutely.
Well, please, I say this: was Joan of Arc a saint? She was a voice hearer. She was communing with God, and she actually was victorious over the English at some point.
Well, Mother Teresa was canonized as saint. She was a child trafficker.
Yeah, good point, Jim. And what about Joan of Arc?
You shouldn't bandy that word around so easily. She didn't do the same thing that, say, for example, the cartels are doing.
That's been going on. That's been going on. That's been going on for many, many years. They had access. They adopted people from all around, kids from all around the world. They had access to children in third world countries, and that's what was going on back then.
It was all ordained by the Vatican. Me and Jim are very familiar with the subject about Mother Teresa because we actually did a whole show on we researched Mother Teresa.
But you're not familiar with modern child trafficking, and it really needs to not be compared.
And what it is, it had to start from somewhere. It's been going on right along, and we mustn't forget the Catholic priests who've been molesting the altar boys for decades.
I'm with you there. Well, but again, child trafficking is a word that we use for the condition of what's happening in the modern day. And I'm sorry, but at no point did Mother Teresa nail the panties of raped little girls to a tree. So there's not going to be a comparison on that.
And it's possible that she was a narcissist as well. She enjoyed those that were dying to suffer the pain. She wanted them to suffer like Jesus Christ suffered.
There was a lot of kids that were very sick in her infirmaries and all that, and you know, she decided, well, no matter how bad they got, she wouldn't take them to the hospital or anything. She would put it in what she would term God's hands.
Yeah. Problem.
She wanted them to suffer like Jesus Christ suffered, and she didn't give them medication either.
Yeah, no, I got to stand up. I can't stop. I cannot shut up. What hospital was she supposed to take him to? Would that be the nearby hospitals that were regularly getting people taken from them by tigers? Or would that be the hospitals?
Funded.
Oh,
she was funded money to buy medication to heal the sick, and she didn't use that money to heal the sick.
Shall I draw you a direct line from Soros to her supposed funding and explain to you guys why she actually didn't have any funding? Again, so which hospitals was she supposed to take them to? The tiger hospitals or the rat hospitals or the dysentery hospitals?
Well, she had plenty of medication and all that. There was doctors at that time. She could have done a little bit more for them kids than she did.
Do you have any idea the number of sick children versus the number of capable doctors?
Well, why would you adopt so many children if you can't take care of them to begin with?
Because the alternate was to leave them on the street, where as Dalit, there was legal to sex traffic them and
yeah, but it's not your street. It's not your street. You have to witness outside. It's a third world country.
I'm talking about the third world country. You guys are talking about America.
Yeah, well, where do you think they got most of the kids from?
I would suggest maybe
India.
Research.
That would be India.
Yeah.
I suggest you research a little harder, because it sounds to me like you guys are listening a little bit more to modern memes. Because again, yes, she had thousands of kids that were sick and not getting treatment, but it's not like she was borrowing them from doctors. It's just that there weren't enough doctors, not enough medicine.
See, Draconius Black Flame says she was extremely racist against anyone who wasn't willing to convert to Catholicism.
Racist in the extreme, absolutely. I'm not saying I agree that she's a saint. I'm just saying we got to set the record straight. I don't know about anybody else, but the Catholic Church doesn't get to control any more information in my brain.
They condoned. They were what Mother Teresa did. Is that the right word? Condoned? Yeah. What she did. They supported her. They were just as bad themselves.
No, not to mention all the money they made. They had more than enough money to take care of all them kids one way or another. You think they did? No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. And I'd agree with you there. And I don't think, okay, so I'm not defending Mother Teresa, because I don't believe it would have gone any differently. I don't believe she actually tried to lodge a complaint, but she wasn't in charge of that. That's not her department.
Well, she
benefited greatly from it.
She certainly wasn't a saint, that's for sure.
Hey, I'm not arguing that she was a saint. I'm saying credit where credit is due. And it doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do anybody any good to look at the nightmare conditions of the past and judge them by today's modern standards.
There is also a organisation that have pledged allegiance to try and get the name saint removed from the name Mother Teresa. They're trying to get that word saint removed from Mother Teresa, because they said she wasn't a saint.
Okay, cards on the table. Cards on the table. I think what we should do is open the forum to people out there, and not just on this show. Let's hear from the people who she actually saved. Okay?
That would be interesting to hear from people she saved.
Yeah.
You say modern day society is just as bad, still ongoing. As a matter of fact, worse than it ever was.
It is not. Certain aspects are worse, but it is very much not. You guys have forgotten. No, it won't.
Human trafficking is on the increase. 280,000 people went missing in the UK alone 4 years ago. Now the figure has rose to 350,000 people have gone missing in the UK.
It's always been there, even in Mother Teresa's reign, and it's still here now in a larger scale.
Yeah, bigger scale, Jim. That's right.
Do you guys remember my story about how I debuted myself to your species? Obviously,
debuted yourself.
Yeah. So I debuted myself to your species by joining in. See, now there's a movie about it. So now everybody's going to try to claim they knew about it the whole time with The Sound of Freedom. So yeah, I was in on that stuff when it was blood when it was blood. All right. I know about this stuff, and the reason why it's so personal to me is because there are children alive today that I still get letters from occasionally. Thank you for saving me. I worked with people who kicked in doors. So yes, human trafficking is worse. And the reason it's worse is because people are so busy blaming shit in the past instead of dealing with what's in front of them. And it very much is. But you got to think, just what was it, 100 years ago? It was perfectly legal to just kill Native Americans in the streets. 50 years before that, it was illegal to just take a woman. Okay.
And also spare parts. Humans are worth a lot of money. Sex slavery, spare parts for cloning, scientific research. It is very common. Human trafficking is on the increase. I'd just like to say that, I found a little bit about Joan of Arc. She was a saint, a patron saint of France. Saint Joan of Arc is a patron saint of France, honoured as a defender of the French nation. So she was.
Nope.
Wikipedia is wrong.
Nope.
Okay.
That is radically incorrect. It is correct that she has been canonized, but let me ask you guys a question. What other saint do you know of that has the blood of innocent children on their hands?
Mother Teresa.
No. She failed to save people, but she didn't actually run any children through. Whereas Joan of Arc has quite a body count on her sword.
Them orphanages back then, they abused them kids. Like Bradley said, they used them for medical experiments and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys don't remember. It was way worse 100 years ago. Now, granted, there are some aspects that are worse today, like trafficking, especially organ legging.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have saved Shar with $5,000. Got me a little Uyghur heart. That's out there. And I live in Denver, dude. Shar could have been saved. That's how prevalent the organ trafficking is. $5,000. That's all it would have taken. But I could have. No. The answer is no.
I'm going to share this. Corey Howes, I actually know him quite well. He said, as a man of God, he believes that Christianity and Catholicism has done a lot of great things for humanity, morality, and the world as a whole.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying credit where credit is due. We should not be throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, but that depends on the individual's consciousness. Some people have a conscience, some don't.
Exactly.
So, but as far as I'm concerned, all the Vatican ever did was practice evil under the guise of good.
I can't terribly argue with that, but let me ask you guys a question. All right. Cards on the table. Do you want me to judge you guys by Lyran standards? You guys personally?
Well, first of all, we would have to have more of an understanding of what Lyran standards are.
Nope, you don't get to. For this thought experiment, you don't get that information. But this is just a thought experiment, not a threat.
Well, no, I don't. Yeah, you can judge
I see clearances here and dragons even higher. So, like, what dragons think matters to me. Although whether it's debatable whether they exist or not. In my opinion, I believe they do from experience. But
we still have to do our dragon episode, broski. So again, would you personally like to be judged by the standards of my home?
Well, you can judge me if you like. You feel free to do so.
No, okay. It's a thought experiment. It's not that kind of question. It's a thought experiment.
I have no idea what your standards are.
Okay, that's kind of part of my point. Just kind of answer. Just come with me for a minute. You'll all will be revealed in a second. So you'll realize why I'm not why you can't know the standards. You're not allowed to know the standards. All you're allowed to know is that it is a dimension away and sometime in the future. Do you want
to? I would like to be judged by celestial beings. Are Lyran celestial?
Okay. Do you want to be judged by celestial beings' standards?
Well, like angels are celestial.
Well, and how can we be judged that way if we're human to begin with?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fair enough. Fair enough. My point is still the same. Therefore, Should you not extend the same grace to the people that lived in the past and in different parts of the world?
Well, I think
You're
what
right.
we
The
should be
consciousness
concentrating.
matters. The
I think
consciousness. The
what we should
consciousness.
be concentrating on is making this world a better place to live in for future generations.
Yeah,
And
learning
how is
by the
that
past.
served?
Not
And how is that
what's happened in the
served?
past.
And how is that served by re-examining history by modern standards without context of culture or
Well, that's
evolution?
what I was saying before. You know, the problem lies within the here and now. So everybody's worried about history, this God, that God, where we come from, where we're going
Right.
when we leave here, when the problem is right here and now. So when
Right.
you're talking about all this other stuff, all that is a distraction instead
But
of working on the real problem.
what I'm
And
addressing,
any problem you have to nip it at the bud.
but Jim, what I'm addressing is the bud. It's the projection. What I'm addressing is the projection. People are projecting their values onto the past, and they're wasting their time complaining and rejudging and rehashing the past instead of looking at the immediate future.
Well, what you got to
I
look
would
at
say
is the
that
here and now. What you got to
So
look at is
part
the
of my
here and
point
now.
was
What condition is the world in at this moment?
right.
and it's you're going,
So part of my point is, if you don't want to be judged by hyperdimensional intelligences with an average IQ of roughly
No,
40
I don't.
trillion, then
I don't
maybe
think.
give your ancestors a break. That's all I'm trying to say.
I don't think.
it's
I don't
not a
think there
case.
should be a. I don't think there should be a such thing as judgment.
Truthfully,
It's
there
not
isn't.
a case of being
Judgment is a human
judgmental.
concept.
It's creating awareness, really. Awareness to recognise and to learn from our past. It's not so much criticising, mocking, or
Right.
being judgmental. It's recognising, creating awareness for others to recognise and understand, and to research as well.
Which is why
Corey,
Which is
yeah.
why I'm saying credit where credit is due. The Vatican has done crazy bad shit, but the Vatican is also responsible for modern education. So,
Yeah, the education that they want you to learn, that they want to teach you, that they want to indoctrinate you with.
which society then grabbed, judo flipped on its ass, threw the bathwater out, and kept the baby. Oxford wouldn't exist without the initial education standards that the Vatican.
Right, and that's where you go through the ranks of being what they want you to be.
Institutions like Oxford are a little different than American institutions. American institutions are designed to train children to be factory workers. That's not even conspiracy theory.
More or less
But the very idea
it's the same all across the board. Period.
But the problem is that the very idea of advanced thinking began when people wanted to please their God.
I'd like to add this. Corey Howell says, Jim Andre, the Bible also teaches honesty, helping one's fellow man, no stealing, no murder, no adultery, being a good Samaritan, honest, kind, turning the cheek. So the Bible encourages the best of humanity's capabilities.
Right. And it depends on the individual human being that has a conscience, whether they're going to latch on to that goodness or don't have a conscience and do whatever they want. That's a matter of perception, a matter of free will. And that Bible also says that the good and loving God killed millions by flood. So that could be scarier. That could be scarier than Satan himself.
To be fair, what the Bible specifically said was every single person that was killed was wicked beyond redemption to the point that they were killing the earth. You don't want me to go into the descriptions of what the pre-Canaanites were like.
And when you don't think man's killing the earth today?
Oh, man, absolutely is. Why do you think I've been telling you guys your planet's dying? You have very little time left.
So all that tells us is that history repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to add this regarding that women could not be saints. Annie Falls is saying Saintess Doin Wen is a beautiful saint. She was also seen as a goddess, incidentally, as well as being the Welsh patron saint of lovers. She's also the patron saint of sick animals, indicating the fact that some women were saints as well.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Anybody else have any examples of that? Please. The Bible and Christianity as it's intended, not what it is today, but the Bible is not as misogynistic as people think. Granted, it doesn't give proper credit.
Again, it all depends on the intent. That's all it is. You know.
Well, like for example,
you got religion can be positive or negative. All right. You had David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. You had Jim Jones, right?
Yeah.
So you got these priests molesting altar boys. It's just good and bad. That's the realm we live in.
Right.
The fact is, we're living in a random, chaotic, unforgiving realm, and there's nothing that's going to change that.
Well, there is one thing that's going to change that, and it is coming. Again, you got to remember, this is not a good time to judge your species. I mean, even your own scientists now are completely aware that the electromagnetic frequencies are making everybody crazy.
Well, isn't that what the God of the Bible does? Judge? Isn't he going to judge us? So there's obviously there's going to be a such thing as judgment, right?
And you mentioned the electromagnetic frequencies that are driving us crazy. Aren't the government implementing them in 5G with the whole purpose of making us crazy? I mean, 5G using electromagnetic frequency has the ability to put a whole rioting crowd to sleep if they wish.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing.
Yeah, but you could do that in fucking 2G, dude. You could do that with a radio.
Right. So in other words, if there's such thing as black op programs with mind control and all that, how can you be judged?
That's kind of my point. That was kind of Jesus's point. The thing is Moses was the one that wrote up that had the idea of judgment. You got to figure these people were coming directly out of ancient Egypt, which was a very cruel place. So you got to understand there's going to be some transition time in understanding, but that's why the entire New Testament exists. But even from my own experience, there is no such thing as judgment outside of this biosphere. They're just what is and isn't.
I've got something here because Jim's going to disappear soon. So Jim Orton, this is from
I gotta go, guys. I hate to cut myself short here, but
I gotta go too.
Can you listen to this one question, Jim? Jim, EsotericHours says, Jim Andre, I agree the Old Testament was far darker and more brutal. I believe it was God's way of essentially showing the wicked that they cannot carry on their wicked ways. Let's look at Saint David, another Welsh saint who could heal the blind through touch.
Like Shar.
Well,
Saint David helped a blind man see again.
Yeah, well, they have a good point, and it often gets forgotten. Every time Jerusalem and the Jews did something terrible, God punished the crap out of them.
David says God made the brain where we got the evil from, right?
Can I just respond to that comment? The thing is, I myself, I'm an energetic healer successfully, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't see myself as a god or anything special. I don't charge for it. I just do it because I do it. So I don't understand, everything in this realm is it is what it is.
Yep.
Right. And what we are is a part of nature. That's it. We just think we're above nature. See, man always wants to overrule nature, but nature will always rule over man. Man's got the attitude that the earth belongs to him, when in reality, he belongs to the earth. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
We can debate all this stuff till the cows come home and sum it all up in one word: nature.
Yes, sir.
On that note, I got to go.
Okay. Thank you, Jim Andre, for your input, your contributions to the show. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure having you. See you on Dedrick Hilton show, Jim.
All right.
And I got to go pretty soon because I got to go get a stand. But yeah, that was the wrong one. Yes, she was extremely racist. She was extremely cruel. Mother Teresa was flawed in many, many ways. Do I believe she was a saint? No. But quite frankly, I don't understand why people need saints. Why isn't it just a guide?
Is what you just said, Kat, today. You've covered what me and Jim were trying to say. Is what you just said. You just said it. It's like she wasn't a saint, and it's an organisation trying to get her sainthood removed because she doesn't fit the criteria or honorary position of the saint. She wasn't one, and the Vatican are quite happy to allow her to keep the title that she doesn't deserve in the first place.
I wish I knew what qualified a saint. I know a saint when I see one, but I don't know what the qualifications are. I know I'm not one, and that's good enough for me.
A saint is divine, I would suggest.
Well, yeah.
Although, like, then you've got the patron saint.
I've heard of several different definitions. One of the most common definitions is anybody who can pull off what it says in 1 Corinthians 12. The problem is that literally thousands of people are awakening to those abilities a day, and the Catholics are not acknowledging it. So obviously that's not the criteria. So if anybody knows the criteria, educate me, please. I would like that.
Divine, I would go with. Probably choosing to God frequency as well, I would say.
Yeah, but if it's a matter of connection to divinity, then what's the point of delineating? Because everyone has that connection. It's just whether or not you choose to follow it. So what's the? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand.
David Nash says a saint has to perform 3 miracles.
Well, I got 5 acknowledged by the Vatican under my belt. And those of you who knew me in California, some of you were there, and they're still not canonized. So obviously it's something else. I think maybe it's that, plus you also have to toe the line. But yeah, in California, the local Catholics, whenever there's an issue they couldn't handle with exorcism, they came to me. I mean, there's things going on in the Vatican that I wish they would tell, because people like me can't. But they're trying to. A lot of the Vatican is trying to make it right, especially with the indigenous people, and that's part of what I was being asked to facilitate. I told you guys I worked in the field for 30 years before I started doing the show. But so, like I said, I don't know what a saint is, but whatever they say it is, obviously that ain't it. I mean, if you ask me, I can't remember his name. The dude, they made a movie about him, Machine Gun Preacher, freeing kids and stuff and building schools in Africa. If you ask me, that guy's a saint. I mean, he's pulled off miracles. There was no bells ringing and angels singing and fire coming from heaven. But statistically, what he was able to pull off is a damn miracle. And he does it over and over and over. So I'll take them seriously when they offer to canonize that guy, whose name I can't remember, but he was played by Gerard Butler in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, Lost Link. If the dominant species wants to live, it must have a stable nursery biosphere for their young. That's part of why we're here. It's part of why we're able to do what we do. I mean, I don't think anybody in the audience would argue that you guys have been trying to contact extraterrestrials for quite some time. And not just because you want to say hi. The Earth is in danger. We could hear your people screaming from in our dimension. And something's got to give. And something's gonna give. The question is what and when. The Pleiadians are on their way. They're bringing their rock, whatever that means. We have to come together as a people. Slavery, child trafficking, those are at literally world all-time highs. And we Lyrans, we don't get it. If the cartels were transported to our planet and they even thought about it, the greatest cry a human could possibly imagine would erupt from their minds. Okay? We do not tolerate messing with our young. Pleiadians don't, Arcturians don't, maybe Andromedans do, but not even the Kute, bugs, sapient bugs, not even they let people mess with their offspring. We are absolutely baffled at what is going on here. And yeah, I don't understand why, like Texas, people in Texas, y'all talk a good match. Where's the militia shooting up the cartels? Where are the heroes? Where are the American heroes rescuing the children? No. It's just a bunch of fat, lazy Americans saying, duh, somebody else will do it.
Aren't the American military the terrorists of the planet?
Yes. I am a very patriotic person, but I have to say yes. But that's not the military's fault. And the reason why the American military is dropping in size so fast is because people don't want to join the American military anymore. The reason why the American military was so strong is because the the best of the honored wanted to be part of that. As soon as when Nixon took over and started making it all about money, and again, this is not conspiracy. Look up the Nixon tapes. As soon as he made it all about money, we became the world police and, frankly, the world's terrorist organization. We, as a country, keep order through fear of privation, fear of fire from the sky. The thing is, for all you shaman out there, Lady Liberty's had it. So we're about to see some major changes on this country. I told you guys, the future is very, very bright. Hope is coming. And it's just we're going to have to get through a little bit of the darkest times to get there. But once it happens fast.
Yeah.
Mostly you got to get that damn signal out of your atmosphere.
Yeah. Which is a gift from God, says David Nash. What's a gift from God? A miracle? Paranormal phenomenal gifts are a gift from God. That's what I reckon.
Agreed. Although they are sometimes a gift from, the other side.
Yeah.
The thing is, folks, it's not like it is in the movies. You don't get very, very rarely, I should say, you get these like people who are evil for evil's sake. My pretty, I will be as evil as I can. In real life, it's a lot more like Star Wars. It's just people trying to do the right thing and accidentally finding themselves surrounded by a level of evil they couldn't understand. And they didn't mean to. They thought they were getting the power to feed their family or to save the city or whatever. People usually don't get into evil diabolism because they're evil. They get seduced into it from good intentions. And believe me, I know the difference. You'll know a truly evil man when you see one.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I can say I've met evil men. Yeah.
I believe you.
Not, I like to think, I say nothing actually. A lot of the monsters are here on Earth in human form. Yeah, a lot of monsters.
Yeah, they really, really are. Thing is, humans don't need a devil to think of evil shit. Humans can think of evil shit on their own. And that's the curse of free will.
Yeah. Changing the subject a little bit, David Nash says, do you think we will get some disclosure this year?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm leaning so hard into being open and honest and as frank as I possibly can. We're about to reach the point that I've been talking about all these years, where I've been saying when the time comes, it will be better that I have introduced myself rather than you guys catching my paw in the cookie jar. And I am urging all other visitors to do the same. For God's sakes, it has been time to come out since 2017. If y'all had come out, the pandemic wouldn't have happened. So stand up. And I don't want to hear, no, we saw what happened to you. Don't give a shit. If I could do it, so can you. I'm crippled and crazy. What's your excuse?
I fell off the wagon. That's my excuse. But I can see the wagon. Let's put it that way.
Oh no, I didn't mean that personally, broski. I just meant that in the generic. Like we ask ourselves, what's my excuse to stop trying today? It's a generic thing, not like a self-judgment. But yeah, I gotta go. I've got to go get a stand for this thing because I really would like to be on Dedrick's show, but I can't use the camera. It's not
Have you arranged that with Cassidy? Have you arranged that with me, or do you want me to speak to him about it?
In my people's way, you mentioned it once and you leave it alone. I have mentioned it a few times. He knows that I'm pretty eager to get things started. And he's from MUFON. He's seen. I think he's seen the genetic report, so he knows I'm for realsies.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it between you and Dedrick then. Okay, I'll just keep out.
If you could help, please help. Because I admit, this way hasn't worked very well for me. I just don't know any other way. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I will mention it to Dedrick. When it's like quarter of an hour before the show, which is at 1 o'clock for me, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time. I will mention it to him like quarter of an hour before the show. Will Cassie Lightwing be joining us? You know, I can't really advertise the show because I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
Right.
Rumble it's going to be on.
I thank you for that. I appreciate that, especially since back home, and part of the reason why I'm having this trouble is because back home we don't speak for ourselves. It's one of the reasons it's one of the ways we're able to keep what little control over our vanity we have. You know, if I wanted to open a cookie shop, I don't advertise my cookie shop. I go out into the town square and I give out free cookies. And if people like my cookies, they say, hey, check out his cookie shop. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, and I am a cookie monster. Woo! And yes, David Nash, to answer your question, we will not be watching a ASDP podcast with Terry and Donald, Terry Lynch and Donald,
Ledesma.
Terry Lynch and Donald Ledesma. We will not be watching that show because in 100 minutes at 1 p.m. At 8 p.m. Eastern time, catch date as well. Me, Jim, Dedrick Hilton are having a show at 8 p.m. Eastern time. In 100 minutes, we will be appearing on Dedrick Hilton's show. Dedrick Hilton is Professor Dedrick Hilton, a professor, may I add, and also a member of MUFON. And Jim and me, and hopefully Casty Lightwing, qualified to appear on his show. So we are doing another show tonight. Yes, we are, David Nash. So basically, because we're legends in the making, I did say. I said in the making.
More like,
I mean, when are you a legend?
More like we're too dumb to lay down and die.
Yeah. We are dumb legends, but dumb legends are still legends.
I'm dumb.
No, we're not actually. We are esoteric intellectual legends. That's what we are.
Yes, we're not crazy. We're eccentric.
Eccentric, yeah, I agree. I've been called eccentric a few times. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I'm eccentric. Okay, I'm eccentric, right? I wear a Union Jack hat. No, I'm not from New Zealand. I'm from England, Britain. Not Australia, not New Zealand.
I thought that was the Southern flag. Huh.
You know, that's why I'm wearing it, actually. People get confused. Anyway, how do you find the show, David Nash? You go onto my timeline, and I'm going to try and get the link onto my timeline, okay? That's the best way I can advertise the show. That's the best way I can advertise the show, onto my timeline, okay? That's what I'm going to try and do. It's a show worth watching. Me, Jim, Professor Dedrick Hilton from MUFON, and possibly Cassidy Lightwing. Let's see if we can get that sorted as well. And it'll be a really cool show. And it'll be different as well. But so tune in, David Nash. Thank you for watching us. David Nash, Nicole Lowe, Gail Rand Epps, Hub Spayerton, Jones, Corey Howes, Shan Gilms, David Nash, Karina Bovey, and also Annie Howes. Thank you, everybody, and all those who I haven't mentioned. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your contributions to Bradley Powell's Esoteric Hours with Jim Andre and Casty Lightwing. We're still around. Thank you for joining us.
So is that the end?
That's the end. That's what?
All right.
Anything
love you, everybody. We love you, everybody. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for now, dear lights. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit that like button and share with your friends. We have a great many people to reach, but we are only as strong as our signal. The world can be a scary place, but you don't have to face it alone. We love you, everybody. Be safe out there.